All right, we're going to be drawing this cone over here. We have been given a front view and a top view. All right, which one's the front view, which one's the top view? We know that we are dealing with a first angle orthographic projection because of that symbol down here, which means that I've got a front view and that will be the top view over there. Right, I'm going to set the pair of compasses to 25 millimeters to draw that circle from that point A, going over there, and I draw that out nice and dark over there. And I'm then going to draw some center lines going through this thing straight away. Just get a set square. Set square, yes. Right, set squares. Here we go. I've got a center line that needs to be drawn. I should have actually started with the center lines. Long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash. Going over here. Long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash. Right. It says that they want you to draw a given front view, a given top view, and a right view. Okay, quite important. We need to start out drawing an XY axis over here and label that X and Y. Right, that line is normally drawn with a 0.3 pencil. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a center line coming down into the top view over here. Long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash. I'm going to draw a construction line coming across the bottom over here. I'm going to drop a line coming down from the circumference over there, and then I measure using a pair of dividers this 60 millimeters coming down here. 60 millimeters, bang that onto there, mark that off over there, and I'm going to come up over here and draw with my 0.7 pencil a line coming across over there and a line coming down from there to there. From there to there. And I'm going to now do something which you don't need to do this, but I'm going to do it because it's going to help you later on. I'm going to break this circle up into 12 parts using my 60 degree set square. These are construction lines that I'm drawing across here. So please draw them very, very light construction lines. I'm drawing them slightly darker so that you can see them. And I'm going to then label those points over there. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Right. I need to take this information and I need to get a view of the right of this thing. For that right view to happen, I'm going to be standing on the right-hand side over here. There I am, looking across at this thing. In other words, there's the top of my head, there are my shoulders, okay? And I'm pointing across, looking at the right-hand side of it. That information needs to be taken up and into this drawing over here. To do that, I'm going to draw a XY axis over here. Label it X and Y, X and Y, right? And I'm going to take a 45 degree construction line going down over here. From where it intersects over there, I take some lines coming across over here. Sorry, that XY axis, I can take that much further up. That was my stupidity. That needs to go all the way up over here. All right, so that X, I'm just going to move that. Let's just move that up to the top there. There's my X right up at the top over there. Right, once I've done that, I'm going to, first of all, drop some lines coming down into this view over here. Drop some lines coming down from this, down onto that base over there. From there to there. That comes down over there on the center line. Coming down over there. Coming down over there. And I'm going to label these points over here. I know that it seems like a waste of time, but hopefully later on you will start seeing the advantage of doing this. I've got 11 and 9, 12 and 8, 1 and 7, 2 and 6, 3 and 5 and 4 over there. Right, I need to take those across here and up into this view over here. And to take that to that 45 up there, and the apex I'm going to label it as 0, okay, and there is 0 over there. Take that across, take that up into the drawing. This often gets left and you guys don't know what you're doing wrong. So my 0 comes across over there. I'm going to start out with the 0, take that across, and I'm going to label that as 0 at that point over there. I now take these points across over here, and I want you to see what happens with all of these points coming across. Right, coming in over here. Right, note all of those numbers are closest to the XY axis. All of those numbers are going to be closest to the XY axis. Note where number 1 is, number 1 linking up over there. Number 2 and number 12 will be there. Number 11 and number 3 will be there. Number 4 and number 10 will be there. Number 9 and number 5 will be there. Number 8 and number 6 will be there. And number 7 down at the bottom over here. And I now link that up with the 0 up at the top. Humor me and put those numbers in so that I can see that you're getting that correct. It is going to help you later on with this stuff. Right, the next thing is they've given you the pentagon over here, and they want you to draw a pentagon for yourselves. I'm going to give you a method of drawing the pentagon, which is slightly different from the circle method. We're going to start out by drawing some construction lines coming up at 45 degrees there, 45 degrees there. That would give me the center to a square. I'm going to draw a construction line going up at 60 degrees there and 60 degrees there. And that would give me the center to a hexagon. What comes between a hexagon and a square would be a pentagon. So if I can find the midpoint between those 2 points, I would then be able to get the center to the pentagon. I'm going to take a line coming out from that point over there and a line coming out from that point over there using my 30-degree set square. That will bisect that small little piece of line in between those 2 points over there. I now take my pair of compasses, set to this radius coming from that center over there that I've just created. Take that very quickly out there. Take that out to B over there. And I'm going to draw a construction line circle coming around like that. And I'll set the pair of compasses back to that AB over here. And I'm going to mark off a line over, an arc over there on that circumference, an arc on there, coming over here, make a little arc there, make a little arc there. If you've worked accurately, you should end up with the points exactly where you need them to be. It should link up exactly on that point over there. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, that length over there, get it set. I didn't have it very accurately set the last time. Take it up to the top there. There we go. That's a much more accurate measurement over there. And I can now draw in that pentagon going from that point up to that point over there, up to that point over there, that going up to the top over here, and that going down to that point over there. Right, there we go, there's my pentagon. You could use a protractor and you could measure it out, but that's going to waste a whole lot of time. Rather than use these construction methods and start learning how to use them. Take these lines across into this view over here. I would like to see that construction method when I mark your stuff. Please put it in so that I can see that you know what you're doing with it. Right, there's my XY axis. Label it X and Y down here. Take this across. I've got a line coming down over there. I need to measure off 60 millimeters with my pair of dividers. Measure that off over here. Mark that in there and draw in the line coming down over here. Line coming across over here. A line coming across over there. A line going across over there. And I need to label this thing now. I'm going to take number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 over there. All right. It says that they've given you a front view and a sectional right view. I don't know why. Oh, they've got a section line going through this thing. All right. That's quite entertaining. Okay. Sectional right view. I've just drawn this thing out as dark, and I shouldn't have done that. So I'm going to take an eraser quickly and start rubbing out some stuff. Always helps to read your question before you draw in things dark. Right, so we're just going to rub these lines out a little bit. All right, rubbing these lines out. That's going to be a problem. Can't rub out the line that they drew in. And that line at the bottom is actually not going to be part of this drawing. So that's going to be quite interesting. Right, it says that I need to measure 39 millimeters going across there. So I measure my 39 millimeters from that corner over there. Place that down over here. And I'm going to measure 45 degrees from there. You're going to take a 45-degree set square, and you're going to draw a chain line going over here, long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash, short dash, long dash over there. You pick up your pencil, you darken in this part over here, okay, nice and thick over there, darken in that, nice and thick over there, and you're going to write in A and A. Right, once you've got that, you're going to draw yourself a little man over here. All right, there's the little man, and he's going to be looking across from the right-hand side to see what is going to be cut over here. Right, let's just have a look at this. I've got 1 over there. I've got 2 and 5 over there. I've got 4 and 3 over here. 1 goes across to 1 dash. 1 goes across to 1 dash. 2 goes across to 2 dash. Sorry, 2 dash. 5 goes across to 5 dash over there. 4 goes across to 4 dash over there. And 3 goes across to 3 dash over there. Right. I want you to look at this. How many lines am I cutting through over here at the top? You can see only 1 number, therefore I'm only cutting through 1 point. And I'm going to label that A. Over here, you can see that I have got 2 numbers, therefore I'm cutting through 2 lines. So we call that B and C over here. Over here, how many numbers do I have? I've got 2 numbers over here, going down to 2 numbers over here, which means that I have got how many lines? 2. So I need to write in D, C, D, and E. So I've got A, B, C, D, and E. Right. Let's take that across over here. I'm across over here, and we're going to go E, and we're going to go D. Over here, what have we got? We've got B and C. Over here, I've got A. And you see that? Cutting through A, cutting through B, cutting through C, cutting through E, cutting through D, and I'm going to cut along that cutting plane over here. There we go. Draw that part in. Why am I drawing that part in? Why am I drawing that part in? is because, well, I've cut away this whole bottom section away. All right, the only part that's going to be left is this top part over here. And I want to be able to see the cutting plane. I can see that cutting plane. Once I've done that, I hatch that with my 0.3 pencil. Let's just see whether I can get some lead going in this 0.3 pencil. Sorry, can I borrow a 0.3 pencil? There we go, thank you. Going to use this 0.3 pencil over here from my good friend over there. There we go. Use the marks that I've scrubbed onto your 45-degree set square. If I haven't done that yet, please bring me your 45-degree set square to scrub some marks on to make the stuff easier. Right, there we go. It says that they want you to draw the true shape of the cut surface. Right, how do I go about doing that? Well, for me to draw a true shape to this, I need to be able to draw some lines coming off at 90 degrees. Now, luckily for you, this is a 45-degree line over here. So I come over here, and I'm going to draw lines coming off from each of these points over here. Line coming off there, a line coming off there, and a line coming off there. And I'll take my 0.3 pencil, and I draw a XY axis over here. I label it X and Y, X and Y, and now I take some measurements from my XY axis to point A. There is point A going to the XY axis over here. Find point A over there, take it up to the new XY axis, and place it down there. And label it. That point over there is called point A. I come over here. Closest to the XY axis is this point B. Find B, go up to the new XY axis, place it down, and label it B. Come over here, from the XY axis to where C is, go to where B to where C is over here, follow it up to the new XY axis, place it down there, label it C. Come over here. There is D, the distance from the XY axis. Find D, go up to the new XY axis, place it down, label it D. E, there is the distance from the XY axis to E. Find E, go up to the new XY axis, place it down there, and label it E. Right. I'm now going to draw some lines going from there. From that D going to A, from A going to C, from C going to E over here, and from B going to D over there. Right, once I've done that, I want you just to look at some ideas over here. What have I got here? I've got a point view of ED, which means that I have got a true length over here of ED. I've got a point view of ED over here, therefore the true length, that distance over there, is going to be the same as this distance over here. You can see that idea. This line over here, going from D to 2, is at a slope, isn't it? This line going from, D to B, D to B, it's at a slope. D to B over here is also a slope. Therefore, that distance and that distance, neither of them are true lengths. Note this, that distance is shorter than that distance. That distance over there is still shorter than that distance over there. All right? This distance that you're going to get over here is going to always be longer than whatever you've got over here. If you look over here, C going to A, C going to A, C going to A, okay? This C going to A over here is always going to be longer than either of these two views over here. Does that make sense? Therefore, this is a true shape of the object. The lengths of these sides are the true lengths of that cutting plane, and I need to take my set square over here, and I need to do some hatching cross the hatching just to show that it is the cut surface over here. Draw that in as fast as you can. And that is that drawing completed.